So the duration of a PhD is on average across sectors about 5 years. So this number is about roughly constant in the Netherlands since 2001. Now I am wondering if this is so well known since, it's 2018 years, how come still only 4-year contracts are given out?
Oh yeah, no, that's an issue. That is something unique to a funding model of a country. So there are advantages and disadvantages. So in North America, it's not as set.
No, okay.
It is not a 4-year job. It is not a 4-year job with a profile set by the organization, the national organization, with different salary steps. It's not as much like that. It is much more variable. It is more when your committee of determine that you've done enough, right? And a disadvantage of that way is that people can go around for many, many years in kind of loops where something's not working, and there's not really an incentive to just say, hey, you're coming up on this deadline. We need to get this done, right? So there is a disadvantage of that, right? But one advantage of that is it's more flexible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So to me, if every PhD project takes about 4 or 5 years or longer, and you're only funding them for 4, you need to then adjust the expectations, right? One reason that hasn't happened is, again, I think the PhD students themselves and their supervisor may be convinced that extra amount of time is necessary for the project or for their own career goals. So it may not always be that a supervisor or a supervisory team is saying to the PhD student, you're not done.
Right.
It may be that the PhD student themselves is still wanting to continue in the traditional academic path, meaning that they want to do a postdoc at a good place, meaning that they need more papers and all this kind of stuff. So it might be voluntary that they're working longer than the 4 years. Right. But you definitely want to make sure, and I'm happy to say that the Donders is concerned about this. Okay. And they are really making sure now that this is not this isn't some default thing. Like it's not people are not to be walking around saying, oh, I've got to prepare for this final year of unemployment because I know it's going to take 5 years, but they're only going to pay me for 4. So I'm just going to be prepared for this final year of unemployment. And especially in the Netherlands, my understanding is that technically that's illegal, right? It actually is illegal. Yeah. Right. And if I was, if you're a taxpayer, you shouldn't want this.
No, you shouldn't want this at all.
You shouldn't want the social support system paying for a PhD student to take extra time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a concern about this, right? Okay. And I think the balance is you want it to be made sure that the expectation is not that this is going to last longer than 4 years, but at the same time, for the benefit of the individual student plus the professor and everybody else involved on the science team, you don't want to force someone to retire before they're ready to go.
Of course not. I mean, that also makes no sense.
That also makes no sense.
No.
So at the very least, there is a tension here to say, no, we're going to make sure that we're not. The goal is not to have people work for free in this 5th year, right? So there should be more planning, should be more discussions with the supervisor and the daily supervisor all along with the thesis committee to be able to say, is this actually feasible in 4 years?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because this illegal part that you just mentioned, I've seen this being, unfortunately, a widespread common practice of, your contract's finished. Well, you do have 4 months anyway, right? Well, what do you mean 4 months? Well, you get 4 months of unemployment benefits, 1 month for each year you got paid during your PhD.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically just work through then.
Yeah.
And but having that planned in already, and so that didn't happen to me.
No.
But so to anyone listening, you need to remember that when you do your PhD that you're in charge. Yeah. And you need to make clear that is not what you are going to do. Yeah. Because this is still, when you do it, you also need to you cannot just point somewhere else saying, oh, they made me do it. You are complicit in this.
Yeah.
So just I don't want to blame just the supervisors here on this.
It's part of the discussion, right?
Exactly.
So it's part of saying, so we do this with my own students, right?
Yeah,
it's just more,
it's important to discuss it.
If we're collecting data at this rate, then this is not going to be completed in 4 years.
Yeah.
So that means we cannot expect the PhD student to analyze the full data set, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
Or the PhD student will do a different question on the data set, something like this, right?
Yeah.
So, or we need to think about how we can hire the person as a postdoc afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. Something like this.
Something like this.
Right.
Exactly.
So that dialogue has to happen.
Exactly. And I find it important that you say dialogue.
It's a dialogue.
It's a dialogue. Yeah? And you do your PhD student or postdoc, it's still a dialogue. It's don't think you have to follow someone blindly. And very often I noticed supervisors actually appreciate it when you take charge.
Yeah.
They like that a lot because it takes work off their plate.